All right. So we have been talking a lot about fraction models, and specifically, we've been using our clock models for many things. We've got kind of our clock, and it's got the hours along the outside. And what I really like about that model is we're all familiar with clocks. And so when I do want to cut something in half and sort of color it in, boom, I got that available to me. We've also discussed one of the limitations is like, halves, it's great. Fourths, it's great. Eighths, it is not great because 8 doesn't really line up with those numbers. Tenths, I can't even attempt to draw tenths on here because 10 doesn't go in to the 12 numbers on a clock very easily. I thought we could explore a model we're also familiar with, but might be beneficial for more tasks. So the one that I'm talking about here is this hundreds grid. It's called that because there's 100 little squares. I know we've already reviewed at some point in time, you have that idea of like each one of these is a group of 10 and how we can kind of use that to our advantage, both when counting, you've done that since you were a little kid, but also in how we can divide things up, that being the essence of fractions. And you'll see that this is already divided into fourths quite neatly, not long and tall like mine was, but these 4 sections, and that makes a quarter. There's 25 in each. So lots of different ways that we could explore and use this clock to give us some more options than the 12 clock, just because reason why 8 doesn't go into 12, it's not a factor, right? 100 has more factors. It's got all kinds of factors that fit inside of there. So if I were to think about all the factors that fit into 100, those would be the denominators that this would be the appropriate device for. I did sort of a modified rainbow there because I was worried it wasn't going to fit, but those would be the factor pairs that I can foresee that this might be helpful for. And again, just for clarity, we're thinking of how might I represent 1/10. Well, I know this is going to be 10 and this is going to be 10. If I divide it into 10 pieces, and my lines are not particularly straight here, 1/10 is telling me to color in one of those. Easy peasy. If I want to color in 4/10, then I would color in 4 of those. Okay, well, that's pretty straightforward. We're savvy with tenths. But I can, I can divide it up into multiple things. I can divide it up into any of the options that I wrote here off to the right. I already talked a little bit about fourths, but another good one is fifths. So I want to make sure I'm dividing this into 5 pieces. I did a straighter job this time. I forgot to mention, the assumption is that this square around the outside, and it is a square, is a hole. So if you focus on my red lines, we might stop, and if I shaded something in like these, I might ask you, what fraction is shaded in here? Yeah, it's 2 colored in out of the 5 that I've divided up and done. Not 2/5, not something we can easily replicate on a clock. So tenths, fifths, we might play around with what 20ths look like. We have more options. We have more options using this model, or at least it's another way of thinking about it. So the question here, the task here is to think about which model is best to represent a question, depending, and it'll depend on what we're confronted with. So if this is my question, 2/3, and I'm going to keep this simple here at the beginning and say plus 5/12, which model could I represent thirds and twelfths easily into? Well, I would hope that we could think about all of our work with clocks so far and say that is a clock question, because I've got my thirds that I can draw, and then we've done so much now with these twelfths. Maybe I could have used, so this is my answer of which model I want to use. I color in 2/3, I color in 5/12, and I start to recognize that 2/3, as we've been discussing in class, is going to be 8/12, and 5/12 just is 5/12. And so if I have 8 of something and I add 5 more of something, that's going to be 13 twelfths. Now, there's a reason why I didn't replicate it here on this clock. That being that I don't have room for 13 on this guy. How would I go about doing that? And that's because the numerator is bigger than the denominator in this instance. I would need more than 1 clock in order to represent that, which we'll be talking about more in class. I am okay with us representing this as 13 twelfths. That's my preferred one, actually. But some people like the cleanness of 1 whole clock and then 1 more in addition to that. We'll be talking more about that as we go. All right, so on this one, 4/5, and we're going to subtract away. We're actually going to get rid of a 10th, which might be interesting to watch me try and draw something being taken away. But I hope that the first thing we're noticing is with a 5 and a 10th here, there is no way that I'm going to make that work on this clock, not as drawn here. We've talked about using minutes to kind of help us out with that, but with only the hours, with only being divided into twelfths, yeah, this is problematic. This isn't helpful, which is where a new model comes into play. They have conveniently, inconveniently, I don't know, put $1 in the middle of this. I think from Number Corner in September. This should look familiar to you, the idea that they put whatever coins or representation they're using. We wanted a whole 100, so that's why the $1 is in there, but we're gonna ignore it largely for our purposes. So I got 4/5. So again, much like in my example, I'm going to take this $1 and I'm going to divide it into fifths. That means 5 equal pieces. And then I will need to think about if I have 4/5, I will want to make sure that I color in 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's 80 out of the 100 pennies or squares out of the option, but it does represent 4 of the fifths. And I'm not going to erase here because the highlighter doesn't turn out well for me on the iPad. I'm just going to kind of black out this one and pretend like, oh, it is no longer here and available. Well, let's see what we got here then. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7 of these left. So it might seem like, oh, the answer is 7/5, except each one of these little things is not a fifth anymore, right? So I need to keep in mind that idea that my denominator has changed when I'm no longer using those big red colored in things. So it isn't actually going to be 7/5. I need to say, well, what do I have 7 of? Well, we know the answer to that too. Each one of these long, tall columns is actually a 10th. So I want to make sure that my answer reflects that, and I show that it is actually 7/10 that are left. Mathematically, if I wanted to, I could say, well, I know that 4/5 times 2 times 2 is 8/10. That puts us in the boat when we talked about adding. If I have 8 of something and I take one of them away, what do you know? 7/10. So this would be a picture representation or model of the mathematical formula that you see below. All right, last one here. So I'm looking at 3/5 minus 10/100. So again, which model am I using? Well, I'm using the one that these denominators tell me to use, right? So I know that I can do wholes on this. I can do halves, I can do thirds, I can do fourths, I can do sixths, and I can do twelfths. Is that what these two are? No, they are not. So that is where, and I already wrote out the factors of 100 on the other one. We want to be thinking of our 100 model for anything that falls under those factor pairs that divided into before 5, 20, and 10. Still didn't get it to fit. You guys will live. Okay, so long story short, not that one. So I got to start with drawing my 3/5. Again, I'm going to represent my fifths. And I kind of purposely go above and below the line, and I'm using this other color just because I really like to accentuate this idea that I'm not actually filling it in yet. I'm dividing this up. These would be big cuts that I'm making. I'm chopping this into 5 pieces. Those are my fifths. 5 and S right next to each other. And then I'm going to shade in 3 of them. 1, 2, 3, done. And this one's got an interesting one. It's saying I'm going to take away 10 hundredths. So again, I'm going to blot them out. Well, what is a hundredth? Well, a hundredth is going to be one of these particular little squares. Each individual square is a hundredth. So I want to blot out 10 of those individual squares. And for convenience, I'm just going to go straight up and down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So what do we have left? Okay, well, I have a fifth, and this long, tall, skinny thing. Okay. I need something consistent, right? I can't describe fifth plus a fifth plus long, tall, skinny thing. So it might be time for me to think about my language that I used last time, that this whole thing is a tenth, and that whole thing is a tenth, and that is a tenth, and that is a tenth, and that is a tenth. So I could say, like, I'm looking at 5 tenths. Okay, I could do that. They brought up this idea. Neither one of my parts of the subtraction problem involve tenths, though. So they are the ones who brought up these little individual squares. So I could say, what if I want to talk about hundredths? Well, there's 10, and there's 10 more, and there's 10 more, and there's 10 more, and there's 10 more. Cool. So if I wanted to stick with their language, nope, I counted wrong. 5 groups of 10 would be 50. And then again, I need to all be the same. I'm counting these individual boxes. And so I would need to say 50 100ths. Interestingly enough, if I really wanted to, and I'm sorry to clutter up the screen here, so I'm going to try and use blue. If the whole thing is blue, and I have just this side of it colored in, and I know I've really made a mess of that, but it's important that we use our imagination. Imagination. That's a half. Yeah, half of it was left. Yeah, because a half is equivalent to 5 tenths, is equivalent to 50 100ths. Same idea, models of adding and subtracting fractions. We're trying to figure out what can we say they have in common down here? What can we divide them into? In this one, we might have divided it into, we might have divided this into 60 hundredths and then taken away 10 hundredths. Oh, of course, it's no surprise that I got 50 hundredths as my answer.